Hello, and welcome to another episode of Helio Insight. Joining us today is Karla Portela, who works in product management over at Levi's currently. Karla, do you mind giving us an introduction of yourself?
Sure. Hey, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm very excited to talk to you guys. As a quick summary of how I kind of became a product manager, I studied at the University of Miami. I pursued a master's degree in business analytics. So from there, I was recruited to JetBlue Travel Products, which is a subsidiary of JetBlue Airways. Here, I was kind of hired as a marketing analyst, just tasked with understanding web behavior, consumer behavior on the website, because that was our only platform. I was hired as the first marketing analyst, so kind of setting up, Google Analytics or Google Analytics properties and events that are meaningful to the business. While within this role, there was a vacancy within product. I kind of expressed interest, and I was very lucky enough to become a product manager while at JetBlue. I lasted a few months in this role, building a new product called Paisley by JetBlue, which we'll probably discuss later on this call. But after making the transition to product, I moved over to GameStop. I realized although web is web, I did want to learn more about mobile, since that, to me, that's the future of where tech is headed, is mobile. So I became a mobile product manager at GameStop. I was there for about 6 months, and then I received an offer from Levi's, and I jumped ship to Levi's, and now I'm mobile product manager over at Levi's.
Thank you, Karla. That was sounds like you've had a very interesting career so far. Worked at a few cool companies, especially GameStop, with the major revamp they've been going through over the past year. So it must have been exciting to be a part of that.
Definitely. Yeah.
The thing that stood out, of course, was getting the degree in your background in business, getting a degree in master's in business analytics, starting as an analyst, and then doing the transition to product. So that's exactly what we're trying to do here on the show, is helping audiences sort of liaise better the non-technical side and then the technical side. So you're able to kind of bridge, business audiences and then also the analytics side. So it's a very interesting background that you have.
Thank you. Yeah, that was actually just going to university, right? It's like you have to decide what you want to do for the rest of your life in like 4 short years. So I started at the University of Miami, and I was like, let me just go into business. My family's in business. This makes sense. This is what I'm used to. So throughout my 4 years at the University of Miami undergrad, I was doing marketing as my major and finance as my minor. I got a few internships within marketing, my very, very last internship being kind of borderline marketing analytics. So this was like my senior year or my last year. And I was like, wait, I actually kind of like this, not only marketing and creating that strategy, but also understanding what triggers people, if the button's red versus blue, like what, even something as silly as that may seem, I did very much like that side of marketing. And that's what led me, to actually pursue a master's degree in business analytics. I did not think that that's like the path my career was kind of going to take, but it was through that internship that I was like, I think this is a very cool area to be.
That's it's interesting that that's the path you went on, right? Like getting this marketing analytics internship out of nowhere and discovering a passion for analytics and then pursuing a master's degree in it. I will add, I went into that master's program because of you. I didn't know that this field existed prior to that. So in a lot of ways, who knows where the butterfly effect actually begins, but you were part of the process that got me to us having this very conversation here today, right? Because it's the trajectory into analytics and so on. But you did mention one thing that I was kind of curious, wanted to dive into a little bit more. You said that mobile is the future over web. Can you explain why you believe that?
Sure. I feel like web has been a staple, right? Everyone goes on the website. That's what people typically tend to do, is website. And now, like, at least at the companies I've been in, a of course, the data is skewed a bit more web. Well, actually, that depends. So for JetBlue, it was actually more mobile, but then for GameStop, it was skewed more web. So it depends. I just think mobile web is emerging. So that's not necessarily an app, but just on a device that you bring with you everywhere. There's such power. And now with, the new iPhones, the new phones that are being generated, it's literally, it's a mini computer at your hands. So it's just capitalizing on that technology and being able to render your website on an app, especially now where it's like everyone's chasing, strong loyalty programs to get users to download the app. So I do see the future mobile, not only mobile web, even though that transition has started and we are seeing mobile web, but more so mobile app. So when I saw that opportunity, to kind of transition from web and make that my stepping stone into mobile, I definitely jumped on it just because I do strongly believe that that's the future.
So there's a lot of, and I don't want to quote numbers because I'm going to be completely off, but there's a lot of conversation going around about Apple charging way too much money to all of the, I guess you can call them vendors, the people that have the apps and download them. Does using mobile web help you access the customer that doesn't necessarily use a computer and then bypass Apple's App Store fees, or is that not?
You mean somebody who doesn't necessarily use mobile apps, right? So
no. So look, I'm thinking more so in regards to lower income households and developing nations where not everyone will have a computer or access to a computer per se, but most people in this day of age or more and more than before are having access to smartphones, like iPhones, Androids,
right?
Whatever the case is. These companies, they charge hefty fees for all the payments made on the apps, right? That you download from the App Store. And my question is, if you focus on mobile web,
hold on. Before you answer that question, because you got to make the distinction between mobile apps and then web apps, right? So a web app is accessed through a browser, and like Karla was saying, GameStop sort of skewed more towards its web application experience, and then you have the mobile apps, which is what on your phone you download a mobile app from the App Store from Google Play.
On web apps, are you still subjected to? Do you still have to pay all the fees that Apple and Android would charge?
No, because it's not through the Apple Store or the Play Store.
Okay. So has there ever been a conversation around let's try to make our mobile web experience superior to the mobile app so that we could get that customer that doesn't necessarily use a computer, and we could just have essentially a larger lifetime value on that customer because our cost of acquisition is going to be lower.
I hear you on that, but it's typically the reverse, right? Like people want to invest more in their mobile app. It's your platform, right? Versus a web application. You're essentially just rendering your website on a smaller device.
Yeah.
Your functionalities there are less. Versus on a mobile app, you can build components that are native. You can leverage device settings to make it more tailored to that user. So like apps, what they actually allow you to do is personalize that experience to your user. So for example, my favorite example ever, I think the Starbucks app is amazing. They always get me back in, the points, the gift cards, whatever they offer. If you compare their experience on mobile versus on their website versus on, their web app, it's distinct. It's
right.
Their mobile app is very, very tailored to you as a user. They have your favorite drinks. They have your points. It's just more personalized.
I see.
You answered a question that I had in my head because I just started to see the shift probably mid 2010s. Everybody was like trying to build a mobile app. In many cases, they were just making a replica of what that was on their website in a condensed mobile app version. Like, then why do you have a mobile app? But here what you're saying is there are some companies where actually you have a different experience. Like Starbucks, for example, you're not going to get the same experience on your mobile app as you would just going to the website.
Absolutely. And that's actually something that's part of my role over at Levi's. So I am a mobile product manager and I'm working on what's called re-engage. Essentially, that's just, loyalty and bringing users back into the app. Like you said, Levi's was one of those companies that kind of took their website and then they created a mobile app. Mm-hmm. So what we're trying to work on now, not just me as a product manager, but also collaborating with the loyalty team, with the marketing team, is how do we actually tailor this experience and make it personalized to the user? You make the user feel recognized. Most users that are on mobile applications by default are loyalty users. They like your brand. They want to come back. They want to buy directly from you. So that's kind of the experience we're undergoing right now, we're trying to facilitate not only that user journey. We know your size. We know it's you. How do we make you come back and buy more and feel appreciated in the process? So that's kind of what I'm working on.
Cool. I had it because we had another guest, and there was the concept around analytics products or data products. And you had talked about the JetBlue travel products, and even Levi's. Have you heard that? Because I'm genuinely curious. Like, have you heard this concept of like data products or analytics products or something, like some type of data related feature that's embedded into the mobile app? Is there like a term for that, or is that something that you've worked with in the past?
Yeah, I would say not so much formally as a term, but definitely there has been a lot of data intervention in projects that I have worked on. So for example, in one of the companies that I did work at, through the use of the loyalty program, we were working very, very, very closely with the data science team and kind of identifying what we call convertibles. Essentially, that's just a term, that's what we coined it. But what that process is identifying which users that are on our newsletter. So, like an email that we send, email communications. Which of these users can we create profiles with them and identify which of them are most likely to actually convert into a loyalty user.
Cool.
So that's very close collaboration with data science team. That's them providing, the data as well as the profiles. And then me being the product person, actually translating that into a feature or a functionality so we can pinpoint these users and actually get them to convert. Here, the term conversion is used as, converting them from like a normal user to a loyalty user.
Very interesting. No, that makes tons of sense. And just to because Abdullah and I and yourself, we probably have interfaced with product managers and kind of know what their responsibilities are. But maybe could you tell us a little bit what, for somebody who doesn't know what product management is, what do they do?
Absolutely. So go ahead.
Just give us like your normal day. What is a normal day in the life of Karla, the product manager at Levi?
Absolutely. But to preface all of this, I had no idea what product was, right? Like I came straight out of college. I had no idea. I was like fresh out of school. This is my first like big girl job at JetBlue Travel Products, working on analytics. And then out of nowhere, this person in product kept asking me data questions. And I was like, why is their job like so closely tied to mine? Why do they need all this data? Why do they need all this information? So totally fair that people don't know what it is, because I definitely did not know what it was. What is product? So I think of product as the person that translates technical requirements or non-technical requirements into an actual feature that users can use, leverage within their user journey. Going deeper into that, kind of my day-to-day is I receive requests from leadership, from business within the company, like, hey, we should explore this, or let's add this new feature, or we noticed that this app does this, or this web app does this. Can we implement that on our application? So you get these business requests. You actually look and dive deeper into the data. So you see the user's journey on your app, on your website. You identify, what that funnel looks like, what each step looks like within the user session. You can identify pain points that the user actually experiences. You also talk to every other department within the company. So it can be finance, it can be accounting, it can be marketing. and they come to you with requests. So you're kind of at the center of it all. You're the funnel. So all of these requests come to you, all of these data pain points come to you. Your job as a product manager is to break these down into features and actually size it. So what is the impact of this change? Is it going to impact several people? Is it going to improve the journey for several people? And that's how you kind of set a priority. After you have this prioritized list, you work with engineers to actually bring this to light or bring this to users. And then shortly after the feature is released, so you work with engineering, you get that out, it goes right back into data and kind of analyzing how is it working as intended? Is there any like major defects with what was published or what was created? And kind of it's like full circle in a sense.
You must you must find yourself saying no a lot because there's, like you said, let's test out these features, but then you have to, like you said, you have to size that, see what's the impact of adding that new feature, and you've probably got a list of everyone's requests in there and what to prioritize, and so that could probably be a conversation in and of itself in terms of what are some strategies for that prioritization strategy. But one question that I hear, even myself included, is that there is a differentiation between product management and project management. And in your opinion, what do you think the difference is between the two?
Project management to me makes sure that everything goes as expected. So there's timelines set. Given the projects, right? Every project is different. Some of them have a hard deadline that you have to meet, right? So what product does is create these features and work very closely with engineering to make sure, the user need is met. The tech that they're actually coming up with makes sense. So that's product. That's where product comes in. Project is more of to make sure these timelines are met. We have a hard deadline of X date. We have to make it. So they're kind of the person pushing to make sure that we hit that deadline. Versus product, it's more consumer centric. So is this the feature that's going to make the greatest impact to the user? Versus project is more, let's make this deadline. And of course, I do a lot more because I work very closely with my project manager, but that's definitely what she's good at, is making sure we hit that deadline and making sure engineers are developing, are producing what they should be producing.
Abdullah, you're quiet over there.
I'm not. I am just consuming knowledge and information. But
I'm in trance. He's like, whoa.
I will say, no, it's a lot of interesting stuff. Actually, there's a snippet that I'd really like to share because you mentioned the Starbucks mobile app and how much you love using it.
Yeah.
I read the other day. Actually, it was one of those the Washington Post like mini videos on they dissect like different businesses. One of them was a Starbucks mobile app, and they were saying how there's about $1.6 billion on the mobile app right now, that money that customers had uploaded to the app and intend to use at Starbucks. And Starbucks can actually take that money and use it. So it's like a free loan. Actually, the interest rate on that loan is negative 10%. Because 10% of users never actually go in and use that money. And so, so I hope you're not part of that 10% and you're spending all the money that you have on the app. But it was
Absolutely.
a really interesting concept. And I think, as I was thinking between mobile web and mobile app, it's just, I guess the conversation in that video helped me see it in a different perspective. But I do want to ask, I know as with any job out there, there's always going to be challenges. What would you say is just the biggest challenge that you found that you face in your day-to-day life?
I would say I don't consider myself the most technical product manager. So whenever I get, a new tech request or a new project that is very tech heavy, I have a process now, but I have to break it down. So I do as much research as I can into the topic. I try to understand. I collaborate with engineers to make sure what I did understand is actually correct before starting or attempting to break down this huge project into small bits and pieces that engineers can actually start to work on. So I would say the hardest part for me was, like I said, my transition was literally overnight from analyst to product manager. So that was the hardest thing for me, is like to understand that it's okay to take a step back. You're not expected to know absolutely everything. It's okay, to take time, research things. It's collaborate with your teammates because they're more knowledgeable. Like engineers are super knowledgeable in the area. Like they're there to help you as well. So as the product person, you don't have to be, you have to know absolutely everything. It's okay to take a step back. It's okay to like do your research. So I think when I started off in the role, I was like, am I expected to know this? And I would get flustered a lot. But that's not part of the job, right? Part of your job is to actually understand it. Take the time to understand, take the time to research. It'll create a much better process with your engineers, with your developers, if you actually take that time at the start to understand versus just go, run with it.
It sounds like a couple of things. One is just curiosity, and we discussed this in an earlier conversation. Is you have to be curious to be successful in any career, and more so in product management, because now you're faced with all of these very alien topics, and you have to understand what they are, and so you need to be curious about them. And then, of course, communication, right? Like just being able to build that relationship with the person. So you were going to say something?
Yeah. Me? No, I think Karla has also been good at asking questions too, and to build that understanding. Being able to be persuasive enough when she's gets to understanding, to be able to have that persuasive aspect of saying, no, this doesn't make sense. We shouldn't include this. And it may all stem from like how you originally started, like when you like the field of marketing, you like basically understanding consumer behavior, and you're trying to, I think it just not just consumer behavior, I think human behavior in general. And those you have your, so what I'm tying in here is like, what are the skills that make a good product manager? Seems like you've got like a trifecta there. It's like, I want to generally understand what this is about. I got to be persuasive enough to be able to tell people that this feature makes sense. This does add this product in here. This is going to have this X benefit, or this one is not going to have this benefit. And then, looking at how people are interacting with the products that you are building. So that kind of, it seems like you got the trifecta there that makes you a good product manager. In terms of, yeah.
I would say another major one is to be scrappy. Sometimes there's this feature, you have to run with it, you have to chase it because it does make sense. Scrappy in the sense of you might not have everything at your disposal. So with these larger companies, especially now, like where everyone's prepping for recession, we don't necessarily have as much budget as we'd like. So scrappy in the sense of, okay, we can't, hire an external company to help us kind of figure this out. Let's figure it out on our own. So I think it's also having that mindset of scrappiness is okay. Like it's okay. Like let's just get it done to the best of our ability and improve that consumer journey or that customer's experience on app or on site, whatever it may be.
That's
not
cool.
Perfection, but scrappiness is okay.
All right, Karla, we're going to let you get back to your Sunday shortly. But before we do that, you made that jump from analyst to product a couple of years ago. And I guess my final question to you is, what is the biggest misconception that you had prior to breaking into product? And then what have you seen to be the biggest misconception the general public had as it pertains to product management, based on what conversations that you've had?
So my own misconception, like with product, was one that you had to be extremely, extremely technical in order to work on these extremely technical projects. As I mentioned earlier, that's not really the case. You just have to be willing to learn. You have to be like open-minded. You have to be scrappy. You have to be open to, collaboration. I've worked on very technical heavy projects, and I've gotten them over the finish line, and they have worked greatly and have great success. So it's okay. Like you can do it. You don't have to be technical, but you do have to be willing to put in the hours. But in the end, it's worth it, right? When you see it working and functional. As for outsiders, I feel like people don't know what product is, right? It's like my family, they don't know what I really do. They're like, yeah, she's in tech. She works on the app. So I think it's that misconception is the largest one, where it's like, people don't really know what it is. And it's such a cool place to be.
Wait till you hear about the conversations we have to have about what is data science, what is analytics. It's just as hard.
I mean, we didn't know. I didn't really know that either. Yeah, I don't know. And it's such a cool space to be. And it's so vital to every company. I mean, if you look on LinkedIn, how many analyst roles are there? Data scientist roles, product roles. Like, these are major, major roles that people that are within business don't even consider looking into because they don't know.
Yep, agreed. Well, especially, I think the three of us. Sorry, really quickly. I think that Doug, you might not be. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the three of us are children of immigrants, right, into the United States. And so, being from, are you, Doug, a child of immigrants or no?
My dad. Yeah.
So from coming from a country that is not the U.S. or Western Europe, you're not immersed in STEM fields, right? Like, they're not all around you. Like, data science is not all around you. Just technical advances, and so it makes it just all the. I guess I don't know what my point is, but it just makes.
I think the point is, like, if nobody, it's harder to, if nobody knows, if it's not doctor, or lawyer, teacher, firefighter, nobody knows what you do. So
exactly.
And trying to explain that to like other generations is like, forget it.
Yeah.
My mom's like, so do you code? I'm like, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I get that. Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Karla, for joining us today. Really appreciate it, and had a really good conversation.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty.